Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here for round 18 of season 2 of the F1 2019 Haas Road to Glory career mode, episode 42 of this series. I can't quite believe that, considering, F1 2019 has been out now, for what, 2 months? I think that's quite, I'd like to think that's alright going so far on F1 2019, and I hope you guys are still enjoying this series as well. But yeah, heading on though into round 18 of season 2, we're almost at the end of the second championship. Season 3 is almost upon us, just 3 more races to go after this one, and season 2 has definitely been a year of progress, I think is probably the best way to describe it. I can, or at least I'm pretty certain, we have got no rule changes as we head towards season 3, so we are, going to be where we are at the moment, and still trying to make some good solid progress relative to, a lot of the teams. We've almost now caught up to Mercedes, then there's a bit more of a jump up to Ferrari, and obviously then you've got the other teams, Williams, Red Bull, obviously you can see now Renault, Racing Point, everyone like that. There's still a lot of progress that needs to be made. Some areas of the car looking quite strong, others not so much as well. But yeah, as we head towards the final few rounds of this World Championship, we are hopefully going to try and pile on even more upgrades as we prepare ourselves for Season 3. But anyway then, we're looking a bit too far ahead at the moment. Let's jump on. It's time for the Mexican Grand Prix.
Welcome to qualifying here in Mexico, where the cars will be going out on track very shortly and battling it out to secure pole for tomorrow's Grand Prix. Now then, Anthony Davidson, you're not getting any younger, but you have been involved in your fair share of qualifying sessions in an illustrious 30-year career. How do you deal with the pressure when you have that one chance to deliver a perfect lap?
It's not so much about dealing with the pressure, it's more about how you approach the risk and just how much of it are you willing to take. You're constantly balancing the car on the edge of grip from braking, cornering and traction, and over the course of a lap, it's easy to get that balance wrong, and that's why achieving the perfect lap is almost impossible. As you say, I've been doing this 30 years now, and it never gets any easier.
So here we are then, ready for the Mexican Grand Prix qualifying session, like we always kick these things off with. And heading into Mexico, the last few rounds, we've had some good, decent results. Last time out, obviously, Japan wasn't quite the best day. It certainly wasn't a bad result. I'd like to think at the end of the day, generally speaking, we rarely actually get, I'd say, a particularly bad result, unless obviously we don't finish the race, which is, not too common in this series as well. But yeah, usually, we're fairly consistent in this series. We've had a really good second half of the season so far. I know Belgium, Monza, and obviously Russia all spring to mind there. And as we head into Mexico, hopefully we can have a repeat of one of those performances rather than places like Japan and Singapore from the second half of this season. But we actually got held up on my first Q1 run here behind Danny Kvyat there, which actually I decided to go for a double run in this first Q1 session. It don't really do this very often on F1 2019, but we took the slipstream from Kvyat as we head down towards Tabata. That gives us a good 10th and a half as we head through the first couple of corners there, really trying to attack the curves as much as possible. You can see already as we exit out of the first couple of corners, we were nearly 3/10 up there. By the end of the lap there, we had actually got it to half a second up. So we did go through at the end of Q1 there. You can see we were all the way up to P10, and considering that was on a second run on those tyres, I will certainly take that one there. 1 minute 14.0 meant we were just under a 10th clear of my teammate Romain Grosjean at the end of the first session. And yeah, really, really happy with that one, I'll be honest with you guys. You can see Grosjean there did scrape through. We were P13, he was P14. So we are usually now getting both cars through into Q2, which is obviously really important. Next step will be trying to get both the cars into Q3, I'm sure, if Grosjean even stays for Season 3. I've spoke about this a little bit in recent weeks. Whether he'll even keep his seat for Season 3, I think it'll be quite a dramatic day when he finally returns to a Q3 session on F1 2019. But heading on though, Q2 was a bit more of a simple showing, or at least throughout the first half. You can see we were up into P12 there, 1 minute 13.6 and about a 10th off of Q3 here, so we would go out for a second run right towards the end of this session here, and you can see as we head down in towards Sector 2 that we are about half a 10th up at the moment here. And Sector 2 of this Mexican Grand Prix circuit is one of the weirdest sectors, I think, in Formula 1 for me. I love it in qualifying trim and cannot stand it in race trim. I don't know what it is. Sector 2 and 3, certainly in this car, really do highlight you know, the issues we've still got with this Haas car, especially Sector 3. You can see, I think we were, you know, a good couple of tenths down from Lucas Weber as we head in towards the final in towards the final sector of the lap there. And we are going to improve by a good couple of tenths at the end of the day. There we lose so much in Sector 3. It is just the low-speed corners where we lose absolutely everything. We saw this last time out at the Russian Grand Prix as well. You know, high speed, obviously, power, we're right there. We've got the best engine in Formula 1, as you'd probably expect. And then middle speed is alright, because we've still got a fair bit of power. You know, the tyres give you a lot of grip, everything like that. Low speed, where it's a lot more mechanical, we really, really do struggle there. But we did scrape through into Q3 at the end of the session there, so really, really happy with that one there, as we now get ready for my one run in Q3. And obviously had to do the double in Q2, means we have only got the one set of the fresh soft tyres there as we get ready for my third and final run here in qualifying. See, Q3, hopefully, as long as we don't start 10th, would probably be the aim. You know, if we can try and get anything more from this qualifying session, I would be really, really happy with that. 214 miles an hour as we head down in towards Come On. They're really trying to coast the car into the first apex. They take a lot of curb through turn 2 and turn 3 as we get ready out onto the second long straightaway here around this Mexican Grand Prix circuit, all the way down 200 miles an hour as we head down in towards the next couple of corners. You can see we're only a tenth up on Lucas Weber there, really, really showing how good this Haas works down the straights there as we head now down in through Sector 2 here. Like I said, really do love this section in qualifying trim. Race pace, yeah, very, very different story there as we head through the first part of this lovely, lovely S section. You can see really trying to get the car all over the curves as much as possible there, take a little bit too much curve as we head through the final left-hander there. And you can see as we head in towards Sector 3, 3/100ths down from Lucas Weber here. Just one sector to go though. This is our weakest sector of the lap. We've really, really got to try and keep it nice and tidy. They take a lot of curve, running a little bit wide as we head in towards the final corner. They don't quite get the car down on the curves there. You can see, unfortunately, we just had a little bit of wheel spin there. And over the line, it's going to be a 1 minute 13.4 there. And where is that going to leave us? It's going to be P9 at the end of the session there. So honestly, I'll take that one. Quite happy with that at the end of the day there. Lucas Weber takes pole position ahead of homeboy Sergio Perez. I'm sure he'd love to try and take home a race victory here in this Mexican Grand Prix. Obviously after, well, he won the last race at the Russian Grand Prix. Potentially, could we see some racing point OP as we head into the final couple of rounds of the season? We'll have to wait and see about that one. Hulkenberg ahead of Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, Vettel, Bottas, Gasly, myself, and Devon Butler there in the Mercedes team rounds at the top 10 there. I think Hamilton didn't even bother with a run in Q2 there, so obviously didn't make a Q3 appearance here in this Mexican Grand Prix. But that is qualifying all done and dusted. P9 on the grid, but obviously qualifying, there's no points for that. It is all about the race. I think it's almost time we're ready for the Mexican Grand Prix.
Formula One may have been absent from Mexico for 23 years, but after 2015's triumphant return, it was as if we'd never been away. In Mexico, a Grand Prix is more than just a race. It's a celebration of speed and of bravery. There's nothing quite like the atmosphere in the stadium today. They'll be drowning out the cars with their noise as they make their way through on lap 1. The Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, 2.6 miles of track that allows drivers to take full advantage of their cars, reaching speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour, and providing lots of opportunities for overtaking. The circuit features 17 corners, 10 to the right and the remaining 7 going to the left. Joining me for today's race once again is Anthony Davidson. Let me ask you about Racing Point. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Great work from Lucas Weber yesterday sees him start from pole. Sergio Perez lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Hulkenberg, Verstappen, Charles Leclerc and Vettel, Gasly, Mr. Monaco, Butler and Lando Norris, Russell, Bottas. They've taken a grid penalty. Romain Grosjean and Hamilton, Stroll, Raikkonen, Antonio Giovinazzi and Alexander Albon. Sainz and Daniel Kvyat completes the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
just out of the points last race, so this is a good opportunity for us to push for a good point scoring position.
So here we are then, ready for the Mexican Grand Prix, and I must admit, quite looking forward to this one. Hopefully, if the pace from qualifying can continue on in the race, we should be in very good stead. Try and pick up, at least, you know, I'd love to see try and get a few points from this Grand Prix, but it was something like a fairly weird two-stop Grand Prix. You know, it was talking about softs, mediums right the way through, but whether those tyres will last is a very, very different question. So we'll have to wait and see about this. Obviously, you can make up so much time on a fresh set of rubber here, around through Sector 2 and Sector 3. There is a lot of time to be gained, so maybe an extra pit stop might not be such a bad thing here. But we're ready then on the grid for the Mexican Grand Prix. The 5 lights are coming on now, round 18 of the season, and it is lights out, and away we go then. Ready for this Mexican Grand Prix. They are not really getting off to the best start. A huge chunk of wheel spin all the way up in 5th gear. They're really not the run we need. It's one of the longest runs down towards Turn 1 on the Formula 1 calendar. Not the place that we want to get a particularly poor start there. And we can see we're already down to P12 as we head down in towards Turn 1 there. Get a bit of a lunge back at the inside of a couple of cars there. So we're 3 wide through the first couple of corners. Everyone, Constantine is up there. George Russell on a set of the mediums, actually getting a really, really good getaway there. See up into P9 of the Grand Prix right off the start. We've got Devon Butler and Russell just in front of us there. We think about going full send up the inside in towards Turn 4 there, but we think better of it as we now head through the next couple of corners. Russell bounces all over the curves, and we do get the up and under on the Williams man there, so we now move ourselves back up into P9 of this Grand Prix, and I think we've got 3, maybe even 4 Brits in a row at this early stage of the Grand Prix. I think Hamilton is pretty close as well, so we might actually have all 5 Brits. I think we've got Red Bull ruining that, but all 5 Brits within about 7 positions of each other. I must admit, it's pretty crazy to see that on F1 at 2019, but really, you know, I'm a fan of the British boys in Formula 1, so it's always nice to try and see a couple more on the grid there as we head through the final couple of corners of lap 1 there. You can see trying to stick to the back of Devon Butler and Pierre Gasly, and it's been quite a woeful second half of the season for Mercedes. It's been quite a woeful season on the whole, to be honest with you, but around this Mexican circuit, it seemed to suit them a little bit better than places we have seen recently in Formula 1. You know, they are really very much now a midfield team in this sport, and you can see already by the end of lap 2 there, Butler not quite being able to get the breakaway from myself at the moment there, but we've also got Valtteri Bottas still trying to apply the pressure. But you can also see on the mini-map, Lucas Weber had absolutely bolted in the opening couple of laps of this Grand Prix. He'd already built himself up a good 3-4 second margin after just 2 laps in this Grand Prix there. Gasly and Vettel are going side by side just in front of us, so I'm sure Vettel doesn't need that in this weekend's Grand Prix. Obviously, there is still that huge title fight going on between him and Charles Leclerc down at Ferrari. They've already wrapped up the Constructors' Championship, but I'm sure, you know, there is still a lot to play for in the drivers as well. I think coming into this one, Vettel's got a 15-point lead over Charles, 4 rounds to go. That is certainly catchable for Charles Leclerc. They just need to try and get a little bit of a luck, you know, with the Renaults and the racing points really coming into play in the later stages of this World Championship there. At the end of lap 3, start of lap 4, you can see the DRS has now obviously been activated here, and Valtteri Bottas is going to potentially be able to get a bit of a run as we make the long run down towards Turn 1 there. But someone I hadn't even considered just yet was Lewis Hamilton, potentially getting an even better run than the pair as they're down towards Turn 1, and very late on the brakes there from the Renault man. And I must admit, it's very weird not to say, you know, the Mercedes man here in Formula 1. I don't think, well, apart from a couple of the really old school career modes back when he was in McLaren, I don't think I've ever actually seen him outside of the Mercedes. Obviously, he's only ever been in those 2 teams. It's only his 2nd race in Formula 1 history, not in a Mercedes-powered car there. And it's always weird to see, I'll be honest with you. But Hamilton, yeah, gets past Bottas and myself there, you know, pretty easily at this early stage of the day. And he's still got a lot to prove against Lucas Weber. Obviously, there's always this debate about how strong Lucas Weber is on F1 2019. And we've already had the comparison between him and Devon Butler here, but now we're going to have a look between him and probably, well, the quickest guy in Formula 1. I'd say his and Verstappen's AI are pretty damn close there. But speaking of Verstappen, speaking of Red Bulls, his teammate Valtteri Bottas trying to have a look up the inside through the first couple of corners, but he did hold on this time around there. And you can see now on to lap 6 of this Grand Prix, we are still trying to hold off ahead of the Red Bull man as we come down towards Turn 1 once again here. We're going to try and give him a bit of a squeeze to the inside. He has got the DRS down, while that Red Bull, obviously renowned Adrian Newey downforce there as we head in towards Turn 1. They've still got the legs down the straight there as well. We spoke about Hamilton being able to make 2 moves in 1 there. George Russell is going to try and do the same there as we head on the exit of Turn 3 there. You see Russell tried to make it work around the outside of Bottas there, and he's going to be able to get the run on myself as we head down in towards Turn 4 there. Bottas, though, wise to it, plays it defensive, and we're going to try and hook it up round the outside there, and we do hold on to P11 at this stage of the race here. The tyres are really, really going off very early in this race, you know. To be honest, this Haas probably didn't have what, you know, qualifying was very, very strong, don't get me wrong, but I'll be honest, we might have overestimated our chances in this Grand Prix here, because we just couldn't hang with the guys in front of us. On qualifying trim, you know, where it's a little bit closer through the middle sector where we lose all our time, you know, everyone's on fresh rubber, everything like that, we were there. Race trim, unfortunately, just, if someone got past us, you know, before sector 2, they were gone, unfortunately, and, well, we couldn't keep the tyres in check in this first stint anyway, as well, which really did sort of compound our issues as well. As we would actually pit on the end of lap 7, sorry, the end of lap 6 even, the start of lap 7 of this Grand Prix, go into a fresh set of the medium compound here, and over the next few laps we would just be trying to settle down into a bit of a better rhythm. Sometimes, you know, for those of you that sort of watch this series a lot, you'll know that I sometimes have to do this, you know, just get a little bit overexcited in the opening stint, everything like that, and unfortunately shred through the rubber a bit quicker than I'd like to. We sometimes have to go for a bit of a strategy gamble, pit early, and just get, you know, a few laps in clear air. I can relax, I can almost meditate in this Grand Prix and really just focus on trying to get our mind in the zone once again here. You can see setting a couple of PBs in this race, and the gap to the guys in front was really coming down quite exponentially at this stage, though. I think we're taking a good sort of 3-4 seconds out of the Toro Rossos in just a couple of laps here, and you can see by the end of lap 11 everyone now starting to make their first pit stops of the day. Albon had already made the strategy gamble, as now obviously everyone else started to come in there, and you can actually see, have a look on the position counts on the top left hand side of your screens there. Butler, Grosjean, everyone had gone on to another set of the soft compound tyres in this Grand Prix. I couldn't quite believe it, I'll be honest with you guys. In the early stages of this race, I really struggled on this set of soft tyres, and I guess obviously the guys that started outside the top 10 got a little bit of advantage with, you know, the fresh rubber for the start of the Grand Prix, but I couldn't believe these guys were able to take these tyres, you know, sort of a good 11-12 laps there for Stroll and Giovinazzi, as well as Gasly here in this Grand Prix. I mean, Gasly, he was inside the top 10, so he did a qualifying run and still got them going a good 12 laps here, and yeah, unfortunately for me, that really did just mean that, you know, the undercut was absolutely impossible in the opening half of this Grand Prix, and really it'd be very quiet then for the next few laps, all the way onto lap 19, before we had any sort of action go on in this Grand Prix. We had a lot of pressure from Lando Norris. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for his Williams teammate, George Russell there. Not too sure what happened to the Williams, I'll be honest with you. You can see a little bit coming from the rear end of the car, but I think it's just off-track dust. And yeah, the Williams just decided it packed up and it decided it was going to go home nice and early this weekend there. But the battle between myself and Norris, though, well, getting a much better run than I even anticipated there as we headed in towards Sector 3 there. I didn't really want to slam the door on Lando Norris in the way I did, but unfortunately that was just the way it worked out in this Grand Prix here. As you can see, heading in towards the final couple of corners of lap 19, and we had actually been able to take these tyres a good 13-14 laps so far. I was planning on trying to get them to, you know, the end of lap 21, and then obviously take another set of the mediums through to the end of the Grand Prix. Whether that'll work out, we'll have to wait and see. But anyway, skipping on now, lap 20, now Lando Norris even getting the run down towards come on there with the DRS, everything like that. He's going to be able to make that move work. As we head into the first corner, a nice big double lock-up even, I should say, for myself there. And Norris not quite getting the run in the end, not too sure what happened there for the Williams man there, but we do hold on right around the outside. And yeah, we do still inherit P11 in this Grand Prix here, so I will certainly take that at the moment. How long we're going to be able to hold on for, though, is a very different question in this Grand Prix, and the answer might not actually be that long. Then Norris, out of nowhere, tries to make the move work through turn 5 and turn 6. They're still trying to hook it up around the outside as we head through Sector 2 there, and luckily the yellow flags come out just in time there for myself. Obviously, George Russell, that car still not being cleared up just yet. There we go. Now it has been dissolved from the racetrack. That's a proper I don't feel so good meme in there somewhere, I'm sure there. But you can see heading down in towards the final couple of corners of lap 20 now. You can see just running a bit deep, not quite getting the car slowed down there, and Norris able to have a look right around the outside. Don't often see overtakes going on through the stadium section here at this Mexican Grand Prix circuit. Norris certainly wanted to give it a go there, dives it up the inside through the final corner there, and he makes the move work. Oh, certainly, you know, hats off to Lando Norris making that one work through the final couple of corners of the lap there. You certainly don't see a few overtaking. Well, it doesn't even look like there's an overtaking opportunity through those final couple of corners, but fair play to him. But you can see now as we head down towards turn 1 there on the radio with the team saying we've got to come in the end of this lap here. These tyres really started to, you know, feel very, very worn out in this Grand Prix. We had pushed them a good 15 laps, so we have been able to make half the effective race left on this set of tyres. So I'd done everything I needed to on this first stint. Now the aim was to try and get them to a lap 21, and that's what I've been able to do there. And you can see as we head in towards the final couple of corners of the lap there, really losing a lot of time to Lando Norris, almost forgetting that I was coming down into the pit lane. I'm sure if that was real Formula 1, I would have probably been given a 5-second penalty for that one going around the wrong side of the bollard. But look, if it doesn't happen in the game, it doesn't happen. That's the rules we play on F1 2019. A 2.1 second pit stop. We certainly don't get too many as good as that here. And it seems strange that, you know, last season still really struggling with the pit stops here on F1 2019. And I'd like to think now I'm pretty used to them here on this game. There, Casino coming back out of the pit lane all the way down in P18 here in this Grand Prix. We only had Alexander Albon behind us, and he was a good half a lap back, I think. I think he's just actually coming out of the final couple of corners there. Really, well, so far this whole career mode has been to forget for Toro Rosso. I'll be honest with you guys, still yet to score a point in either season here on F1 2019. And you can see coming out onto lap 23, a few more drivers started to make their pit stops onto a set of the medium compound tyres here, so everyone else now going to try and go to the end on this set of medium. So we've sort of been able to balance it back out in this Grand Prix here. Now everyone now, basically pretty much everyone's now back on the same page for the final third of this Grand Prix there. You can see now skipping on over the next couple of laps, making up even more places back up into P12 of this Grand Prix. And I think, in all honesty, P12 was probably all we were going to be able to get in this race there. And by the end of lap 29, these tyres really did not last in this Grand Prix. We only managed to get them a good sort of 9 laps here in this race. We can actually dive it in again, going on to the 3-stop strategy in this Grand Prix. We go for a quick blast to the end on a set of the soft compound tyres here. And I sort of mentioned this before the race. You can't really make this work around this Mexican Grand Prix circuit. You know, the tyre delta is so massive around such a short track, and with quite a short pit lane as well. You can't really try and give it a bit of a gamble with just a few laps to go of this Grand Prix. And really, you know, we could have probably come in a couple of laps earlier, but 6 laps to go now. We have really got to try and push it in this Grand Prix. You can see Giovinazzi comes out just in front of us. I don't think Raikkonen, though, is going to be able to get the run down in towards turn 1 here. So we have come back out in P15 here, and like I said, P12 was really all we were going to be able to get in this Grand Prix anyway. There you can see such a big gap between Lando Norris and Carlos Sainz there, and you can see the Mercedes just up the road as well. Everyone had sort of spaced out in this Grand Prix. You know, there's not, you know, I guess the biggest gap is between Lando Norris and the McLarens there. But you can see, looking at the mini-map, well, I completely forgot I'd just gone right around the outside of Antonio Giovinazzi there, back up into P14 of this Grand Prix there. And now we really do need to try and get the hunt on for Lance Stroll. You can see lap 32, just a couple of laps later, we're taking a good 6 seconds out of the McLaren here as we head into lap 33 of this Grand Prix there. And well, nothing really Stroll's going to be able to do as we head down towards turn 1. If we go inside, we can go outside. We chose the outside this time around, 214 miles an hour as we head down towards turn 1 there, and we make the move work. And we are now back up into P13 of this Grand Prix here, but still just a few laps to go now of this race, and Carlos Sainz is still a good couple of seconds up the road here, so we will still have to push with just a couple of laps to go here. And you can see now onto lap 34, how much time are we going to be able to gain over Carlos Sainz through this middle section? Just look at the tyre advantage, the grip, everything like that we've got over the McLaren there as we head in towards sector 3 of this lap there. Sainz even, sorry, I should say, tries to play defensive there. He does get the move on the inside there and parks it as we come in towards the final couple of corners here. And this is not something we've had to navigate in a very long time. They're blue flags coming out behind us as well here as we head in towards the final, well, now it's going to be the final lap of this Grand Prix. We let Lucas Weber through there, and Sainz is going to dump it on the exit of the final corner there as we head into this final lap of the Grand Prix there. And I mean, we let Weber through, I'd like to think fairly cleanly as we head out of the final couple of corners there. And well, Lucas Weber has really helped me out in that situation because Carlos Sainz has lost a good, you know, second and a half as we head in towards what is now the final lap of this Grand Prix here. And you can see, obviously, we've been a lap down here. Can't remember the last time we even finished a lap down in this series, I'll be honest with you guys. But yeah, clearly not quite the race we wanted at the end of the day there. But like I explained, P12 was all we were going to be able to get in this Grand Prix anyway. We may as well try and go for the extra pit stop there and, you know, have a little bit of fun towards the end of this Grand Prix here. But yeah, Lucas Weber, as he heads in towards the final few corners of this Grand Prix, then it's going to be yet another win for the Renault team here on F1 2019. Really look to be setting themselves up for Season 3 there, and I'm sure he's very, very happy with that one there as we head in towards the final couple of corners. Weber, he's slowing down. Yellow flags are out. What is this going on? As we head in towards the final few corners of this Mexican Grand Prix, all of the confetti's coming out, and I think, what's going on? Weber, his car's broken down with just 2 corners to go of the Mexican Grand Prix here as we head in towards the final couple of corners. Sergio Perez leads 1 corner of this Mexican Grand Prix and wins at home back-to-back races on F1 2019. I cannot believe that when Sergio Perez has won the Mexican Grand Prix there. What a race for him, but certainly not one that he would expect, and I'm sure the emotions are crazy down at Racing Point.
The team will certainly be celebrating tonight. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
I'd say it was down once again to good, consistent driving, nailing the corners, working to the track conditions and perfecting the team's strategies. They got all of these things right today and the results speak for themselves.
The Racing Point team will be very happy with today's performance and the final result. Another display of excellent driving and excellent teamwork, and a well-deserved first-place finish. Let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. This result narrows the gap between our championship leader and the rest of the standings. Let's focus on the driver of the day. Anthony Davidson, who do you pick?
It's got to be Lewis Hamilton. I mean, he pulled off some impressive feats out on the track today, even by his standards.
The Constructors' Championship may be a foregone conclusion at the moment, but regardless, let's look at the standings. So then, Ferrari have now moved out of sight and out of reach. It's another triumph for the Italian team as they claim the World Constructors' Championship. Meanwhile, good work from Racing Point this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
I cannot believe the finish of that Grand Prix, I'll be honest with you guys. Sergio Perez led 1 corner of the Mexican Grand Prix, but it was the only one he needed to. At the end of the day, I was already talking about Lucas Weber and Renault heading in towards Season 3. Looked like a really, really strong package, but Weber robbed once again on F1 2019. You know, he's got the pace. He's an absolute madman in terms of raw pace alone. But, well, obviously with the blue flags, I thought perhaps he was doing a little bit of showboating as we head in towards the final couple of corners of that Grand Prix. Clearly not. Lucas Weber's engine expires with 2 corners to go. Once I sort of realised what was happening as well, I really did try to consider doing, you know, sort of the cars, try and push him over the line, but, you know, I'd probably end up getting DQ'd from it here on F1 2019 there. But what a finish towards the end of that Mexican Grand Prix. That, well, you couldn't write a script like that. You know, you guys that know, obviously me, we don't do script in this series. We keep it sensible, we keep it normal, and clearly Codemasters decided something different here today there. Sergio Perez now moves himself back up into P5 of the World Championship with that victory, jumping Lucas Weber, Devon Butler and Pierre Gasly in the Mercedes cars there as well. Hulkenberg still in P4, Hamilton with that 3rd place up in P3 there, and still just mathematically within a shot of the World Championship, but a gap at the top down to just 12 points there with 3 rounds to go. Charles Leclerc needs to average a 4-point gain each Grand Prix at the moment, which is certainly more than possible here on F1 2019. In terms of the Constructors, obviously, as I'm sure you guys are well aware already, obviously Ferrari still lead the way there. No changes, I think. Actually, no, I think Renault have jumped past Racing Point and Mercedes. Sorry, no, Racing Point have jumped Renault and Mercedes even in that Grand Prix after, I think that was another 1-2 in this championship. 2 back-to-back 1-2s for Racing Point. I was hyping up Renault in towards the final few corners of that Grand Prix. Racing Point are another one to watch as we head in towards the final couple, in towards Season 3 of this championship. And Mercedes, they're probably going to drop down to P4 as well, unless Renault can, well, sort out their engines towards the final couple of rounds of this World Championship. But I cannot believe the end of that Grand Prix. A very, very long video on the whole. They're almost 30 minutes as we head at the end of this Mexican Grand Prix. But thank you all so much for watching this video. Get yourself subscribed if you're new around here as well. And hopefully I will see you guys next time for another video. We're almost ready. 3 rounds to go. It'll be the US Grand Prix.